Okay, so Ninjago Dragons Rising has 2 more seasons left to go, and we need to talk about Skylar quickly, because we have some news about, obviously, Season 4, what Season 4 is capable of, and we also have a spin-off show. So let's talk today about Skylar and where we can see her fit in either the 2 last seasons of Dragons Rising, or the 2, I think there's 2 more confirmed, Ninjago Legend storylines. Let's discuss where we can see character of Skylar go. If you were around the other day, you would have saw me post a video talking about how the writers have spoken about what Season 4 is going to be about. A bit of a glimpse that Season 4 will delve into learning more about Lloyd's energy power, or life energy. If you've checked that video out, you'll understand what's going on there. And the writers have obviously spoken but Lloyd's power is obviously not what we know of. There was someone else that had this element prior, and we're going to obviously learn more about this in Season 4. And this is sort of the same thing with Skylar. We obviously know Skylars Power is a normal element, like Lloyd's, Kai's, Cole's, Jay's, Zane, Nia's. Not like everyone else's. It's different. It was handmade, pretty much, by the first Elemental Master from Chronos Steel. So why is this something that will affect in Dragons Rising? The Source Dragons obviously would have had a part, and Doc White has thrown this whole thing out there to a fan prior, and we have spoken about it on the channel, how these little embers were left into a tree, and that was because of the Source Dragon leaving a particle there, or whatever. It is a whole interesting story that we'll obviously have to come back to. Now, same thing could be said about Lloyd's power. It could be homemade, pretty much. But if someone else had this element prior, would have been interesting. Obviously, when Gawain never had this power, someone else had prior. Maybe just the first semester, which I'd like to believe that. I wouldn't like anyone else to have this power, because it doesn't make sense. Now, going back to Skylar, I would love to see Skylar return in Season 4, especially because the one thing I hate about Crystallize is simple. When Nia dies in Seabound, it's a year event that has happened, and like Skylar mentions towards the end of Crystallize, she has not really spoken to the ninja since. And the other interesting thing is, the only one that speaks to her is Lloyd. So it'd be interesting to see, obviously, Skylar come back to the team. Obviously, to join, nonetheless, I would love to see that, but I'd also like to see some diversity there, because if we're going to learn about her power, she's going to be in Season 4 Part 1 straight away, no more, no less. She can't be like how Pixel jumped in the middle of the season, which I think was pretty well done for the amount of time she got screen time. I'm fine with that, but Skylar's going to jump in pretty quick in the season, not at the end, not in Part 2, not any further. The reason why I say this is I do not think Season 5 needs to bring characters like Skylar back. I do understand if it's like Misako, Master Wu, Gamadon, especially Gamadon being introduced maybe in Season 4 Part 2 makes sense, but mainly Skylar being there from the start of Season 4, we need to obviously grow her character out. She needs to be explored more in the Emerged Lands. She needs to explain why she didn't go to the Source Tournament, or if she got an invitation or not. It needs to be sort of fresh. The events of the Tournament of Sources are obviously fresh from where we are in Season 3 Part 2 or Part 1. Just the whole events that need to obviously have an explanation. Now, nonetheless, going back to Skylar's character, she is very interesting, and she's obviously going to need to work on the Kai relationship. And that is where I'm going to go to my next point. The other thing I can also see is Kai and Skylar having their own Ninjago Legends / Monstrosity season. The reason why I say this is it isn't confirmed that each ninja will get something done with them. However, it is believed that obviously first story will take upon Kai, and realistically, we don't know what the other 2 stories are. So if Ninjago Legends is supposed to be about everyone else, maybe we could see one about Skylar. I want to throw this out there. I do think LEGO knows what side characters do sell well, and let's be realistic. They know Skylar sells hot. I remember with that Hunted set, if you did not get that on the first day, you couldn't really find it on Big W shelves, because I remember Kmart never stocked that set after the first month. So if you're really wanting Skylar, you gotta get her straight away in a set. I could see a $150 set, like a mech, for example, for Skylar, selling really well. But I can just... A diorama piece would also be really good with Skylar. I think Ninjago can capacitate on what main characters or side characters it does. It's shown this time and time again. With not including, like, main ninja characters into, like, polybags. For example, Dara's polybag. Or that Skylar fun pack that came out in 2017. It does show the capacity of what character is obviously important. Especially during the Crystallized era, we got a brand new suit for her, even though it wasn't canon to the show. It just shows that the writers, not just the writers, but the LEGO designers, they believe Skylar is worthy of a bit more attention. The writers don't want to give it to us, but the designers are like, screw the writers, we do what we want here. And I respect that fondly. So, definitely something I find interesting. But yeah, I could definitely see them working on Kai and Skylar's relationship. Doc White has talked about it before, and I've spoken about it in a separate video. I'm just hoping that the relationship does get resolved. In the comments down below, let me know your thoughts, what you would like to see for Skylar in future Ninjago installments of Dragons Rising. When do you want to see her return? Thank you guys for watching. Peace out, guys.